Hello everyone. So today let's talk about something very powerful that most of the businesses overlook: email marketing. And many small owners and small businesses rely on various marketing channels to disseminate or propagate information about their products and services to their customers. And many use SMS campaign, use push notification if you have a mobile application. Of course, many goes through social media channels and so on. But many, I would say, overlook email marketing, which is actually one of the cheapest marketing channels that you can use and utilize. So you might be wondering, is email still relevant in 2025? Right? Absolutely, it is relevant. In fact, email marketing still brings the highest ROI of any digital channel, right? And an average, $42 for every $1 spent, according to one of those campaign monitor studies that I've read recently. Unlike social media, where algorithms decide who see your message, with email you are in full control. Now it's like having a direct VIP line to your customer's inbox, right? But now let's look at why you might be struggling with the leads right now, and maybe something, some of those sounds familiar. You are posting content online but not engaging. You feel like your social media followers are just watching but not buying, right? You have list of contacts, but you're not sure what to send them, or even if they even care when you send something. So every time you send an email, you hear something. Sometimes you don't hear anything. Zero replies. So that's where you get demotivated, right? I've done a lot of email marketing campaign and no response. Nobody's actually taking any actions on those call to actions you mentioned in that email. And what is a call to action? Book me a meeting, reply to me if you need anything, and no one replied. That's really stressful and inconsistent, and it's not a strategy. But here's the good news, that email marketing fixes all of that, right? When you really implement an email marketing in the right way, and I've been doing this for a long time, and believe me, these days when I send an email to my customer or customers, they literally come back and book my meeting. I've got my Calendly link, and they literally fill my calendar. Unbelievable, isn't it? So that's the ideal situation that every sales and marketing people expect to happen on a day-to-day basis, that a customer is coming back and then filling your calendar, right? So here's what else happens beyond just more leads. You will build trust and authority in your niche when you send relevant content to your ideal clients, right? You'll stay on top of mind, so people come to you when they are really ready to buy, right? You will nurture cold leads into warm ones, right? And what is cold leads, right? You got to know somebody, right? You got a lead from someone. You got to know about somebody through personal referrals, right? Or through somebody contacts a cold referrals, and then how do you convert them to a warm ones, without really chasing everyone around, right? So how do you really progress those cold ones into warm ones? How do you will also shorten the sales cycle if you really follow a proper email marketing strategy, and because your emails are doing the heavy lifting, right? You're educating your clients on the things that they are looking for, right? And you will finally stop worrying about, what do I post today? Because you will have a system. Once you have a system in place, you are not really worrying about, what am I going to run this week, right? Starting from Monday morning through that Friday, what content do you have? So what am I going to post, right? So you don't have those worries once you have a system in place. So let's make it even simpler. So email marketing is like watering your garden, right? You don't plant seeds and walk away, right? So you continuously nurture, you show up regularly. That's how leads grow, right? It's also like a coffee shop loyalty card, right? So each email is a touch point, a connection, a reason for someone to come back and say, I trust this person, isn't it? So here is how I summarize it in two simple statements. So build trust in their inbox before you earn their business, right? If you continuously spam, yes, of course, they will unsubscribe from your list. But if they don't hear from you, they will also forget your existence, right? So you need to show that, yes, I exist. So you need to do that. So now let's look at how you can actually use email marketing in your business. Okay, so you can send a welcome email, right, when someone joins your list. But the challenge is, how do you know when someone joins your list, right? You need to have that system in place. You can create a weekly tip series showing how you solve real world client problems. Now, that's very, very important. This is where the value proposition comes in place, right? Unless you have defined your value proposition, you will also, of course, struggle, right? So what kind of problems you're going to solve or you have been solving with your customers. You can send a mini case studies or client result that you have recently achieved or success story on a monthly basis at least. If you have success every week, fantastic. You can share a blog updates or new project launches. So if you have your own website, you have got your website design company, marketing agencies, you can ask them to write a blog. That's something you can send it to your customers through email. So the content is there, just a matter of bringing that over to this particular system of email marketing, right? You can also offer a limited time deal or a bonus to really engage and re-engage those cold leads, right? So there is a connection between these cold leads and email marketing. So I hope you understand that. And how do you connect these cold leads with my email marketing? Again, going back to the system, right? You need to have the system in place. Another thing what you can do with email marketing, of course, you can also announce an event, workshops or webinars. You can segment your list and send targeted messages based on what they care about. And that is something called personalized email marketing campaign. That you don't want to send the same information to the entire people you have in your list, right? You may have some customers from this industry called retail. You have some customers coming from manufacturing. You have some customers coming from B2C and B2B. So you can really segment these customers into different baskets and send them the relevant content. That way they will appreciate, they will not unsubscribe, they will also expect you to share some content on a day-to-day basis, right? So you can also use email marketing for educational content, right? So create an educational email course over 5 days, right? So day 1 to day 5. So they'll anticipate that you're going to send them something in the next few days, right? Of course, you can run product launch in sequence. You can also even automate reminders for meetings, the consultations and project kickoffs, and a lot of things you can do once you have that systems readily available. So let's walk through the steps to implement that email marketing strategy. That is very, very interesting, and you guys need to really listen to me carefully so that you can implement that strategy, right? And note down when you're writing down, this is really going to help you. And if in case you have any trouble in implementing that strategy, come back to me, I'll help you further. The first, choose the email marketing platform, right? I don't know how many of you as a small business owner really have that platform ready, right? If not ready, do it right away. Go to MailChimp.com or ConvertKit.com or Zoho Campaign. I'm not recommending any particular system, but then if you want to use something for free of cost, just to really quickly get started, use MailChimp. I think up to 500 to 1000 email, is for free. You can literally get started for free without putting any money. And they are, cloud-based solutions, so you don't have to install and configure anything. Next, organize your contact list. Right? Make sure you have, cold, warm, and hot kind of list. So the question is actually from where you get this email list, right? So if you're in business already, then you bring all those contacts in an Excel sheet and name them, cold list, and then create another list called warm list, another hot list, right? An Excel sheet. Or you can ask your assistant or somebody. Then you can actually import that into the system and name them, cold, warm, or hot. Then you define your messaging, right? So what does your audience need to hear regularly from you? What is your specialization? What is your niche? What's your value proposition? You're, sharing with your customers on a day-to-day basis. Now you're actually doing the same thing with the mass audience, right? So imagine you're doing all these things on a day-to-day basis, one-on-one. Now you're doing this with one-to-many, right? You're simply amplifying it. So you need to decide, what does your audience need to hear from you? That's something very important. And then create a simple 3 email welcome sequence for new leads, right? So whenever a new person comes to your list, what are those 3 email that you want to tell your new person joins that list, right? Welcome sequence. So write one weekly email using stories, client wins or lessons learned. Those are the things you can do, right? So bring up some stories about your meeting with the customer of last week, the kind of projects that you won, some of the lessons that you learned in your industry. And this customer also part of the same industry, and they will appreciate when you share that. Set up basic automation for onboarding. So suppose this MailChimp, for example, there are automation, right? The time you set up email marketing list campaign, there are automation capabilities there. The time somebody joins your list, the MailChimp automatically send a welcome email. MailChimp automatically sends you a reminder, sends them reminder. You can do many things. That is called marketing automation. So don't get confused with too many jargons here. But you can, of course, automate. You don't have to do many things manually, right? This onboarding, follow-ups, and reminders, all these things can be done by that system automatically, right? And then there's something called, lead magnet. In marketing world, as a small business owner, also you need to know what is this lead magnet and how do you design this lead magnet, and what are those type of lead magnet, So it's very important. So lead magnet is nothing but a free resource that you want to share with your customers. Maybe a checklist, maybe a guide, maybe a presentation, and then so on, right? And then how do you really fill this system that you have just created? Like MailChimp, for example, you created and you imported your existing contacts into those lists, but you wanted to bring in more and more contacts, isn't it? Because let's say you want to target 1000 contacts, you want to have 2000 contacts. Like in my case, I've got 24,800 contacts. So it actually I created over a period of time, right? It's not just overnight. And I send them these emails on a daily basis. 5 a.m. in the morning, I send interesting content, and I get my calendar, filled with those interesting customers. They want to know more about it and hear from me and want to meet me and so on. So that's the ideal thing that most of the small business owners are looking for. And then, of course, you need to add the sign-up forms. On many websites, when you go there, you'll find the sign-up forms, right? And you just give them your email address and you say subscribe, and then you start receiving their emails, right? So now the same thing you want to apply in your business. So you need to add the sign-up form on your website. Now today on your website, you may have that, but that email address is going to inside your website somewhere and you don't know. So you're not able to collect those, valuable email address, isn't it? So on your website, you have to add this sign up form, which needs to be connected with your MailChimp or whatever marketing platform you are using, right? So then only they will become your new, contact, and your system will send a welcome email and so on, right? And then every day, sending emails, they will also receive them, right? But the most important thing is actually you have to also measure the open rate and click-through rates, and I'll do a separate session on that, right? A live demo session wherein you can actually see how does this open rate and click-through rates works, and the importance of them, right? Because you need to really track and monitor what's going on, who opens what, right? And who clicked what, what exactly is the value of the content that you're sharing. That's the most important thing, the value of the content. How do you know whether they are interested in this, right? So how do you learn what your audience responds to, right? And most importantly, how to be consistent, right? So let me give you, a peek at 10 businesses that are using email marketing right. A small digital agency here, sends weekly mini case studies that led to 2-3 consultation call every week. A boutique firm in Dubai recently spoke to. They create 5 email onboarding series that gives them 40% reply rate, right? An IT company who sells SaaS software, software as a service product, they send monthly value packed updates, 60% open rate. This is really amazing. On an average, you can expect 20 to 30% open rate. But imagine someone gets 60% open rate, means the list is quality list. The content he's sending is very relevant to those segment of customers you have got in that list. So this is very important. You can't bring in all the junk into the list and then bring down your open rate to 10%, 15%. And there are many people I've seen, they're doing email marketing campaign as a spray and pray. That spray and pray is something that marketeers use this, that you send millions of SMS or email and then pray something or the other happens. And I also met a technical consultant in this region. He sends every week, let's say, a Monday mindset, tips, that converts followers into paying clients. Tips is tips, right? But then if you consistently send those kind of tips, let's say every day, every Monday morning, that also converts into a paying client. A software development company, they actually send, industry focused, industry insights every Friday. So you designate that day for those industry and those type of customers really, So there are many industry focused small business owners apply these kind of, insights, and they see the result, right? So you really want to get even more from email, So 3 things you need to remember when it comes to email marketing. First, use the storytelling. Don't sound like a robot, write like a human. Of course, ChatGPT and things are there to help you, but don't write like a ChatGPT or bot, but make it like a human. But use storytelling. That's the point, right? Second, include CTA. CTA is nothing but call to action, right? One action, one direction. I've seen email coming to you and coming to us with so many call to actions, right? And that actually reduce the open rate and click-through rate, and abandonment rate is going to go high. The third, many times we send campaign and then we just ignore that campaign. That is why we have this 20% of the conversion, 20% of the open rate, but the 80% still not open. So how about them? So the third point is resend those emails to people who did not open with the new subject line, right? So if you have this MailChimp configured for your business, And if you go to your mobile phone, install this app, you have an option, send the same campaign to these, not open customers. Just a click of a button. It's very easy, right? So let's say this morning you set a campaign, and afternoon you look at, out of 1,000, only 200 people open email, so 800 not open. So in the afternoon you can click that button, send it to non-openers, right? This will send it to all the non-openers. Fantastic. So there's no effort, there's no extra effort, right? But remember, there are pitfalls too, and you need to avoid. So don't buy emails as a list, and that's where the problem with the open rate. So many companies, they say, okay, let's buy email from so-and-so people, from companies, and pay some money, and never ever do that, because this will create a lot of junk in and you will never be able to clean them later on, because that's a mix of authentic emails and the non-authentic emails, right? So you can't. So better you organically grow your list. The another thing you need to also avoid, don't really ghost your list. Email them regularly or you will lose trust. Right? You're just maintaining the list. Fantastic, everything is okay, but then don't become like a ghost. Right? You keep consistently send email marketing campaign. As I said earlier, in my case, I send 5 a.m. every day. So I take content for a week and I configure the system and I schedule for 5 a.m. So 1 week content is ready, campaign is ready, it's running, and all what I need to do, track and monitor, right? Open rate, who clicked what, and so on. Right? So, and also one more important thing, don't make it all about you, right? When you are defining or designing this campaign, don't make it all about you. You make it emails about the reader, their problems and their challenge, their pain, their desire, and what benefit they are looking for, what problems they want to solve in their business, right? So these three things you have to avoid, right? So first, you want to avoid, do not buy the email list. The second, do not keep your email system as a ghost. So there's nothing happening there. The third, do not make it all about you. Make it all about them, right? So email marketing is not about being pushy, and it's all about being present, right? As I said earlier in the beginning, that it's about your existence. You are showing that you are present in the market. How many business cards you select or you collect in your day-to-day meetings, and you go for exhibitions, and all these business cards are lying on your table, in your drawers, and in your office, and collect all of them, digitize them and put it in an Excel format and import it into this MailChimp, right? So you can show your presence, right? So you can send seasonal greetings, you can send, as I said, daily, weekly, even monthly newsletters, and right? It's not about selling in every message, right? Don't be salesy, It's about staying relevant until they're ready to say yes, right? So let's really get started. Let's make email marketing the engine that drives your leads. As I said always, that revenue is the growth engine for any business, but this growth engine has got two key pillars. One is marketing, another one is sales. Now on this video, I've been talking about marketing side, right? So I'm not talking about sales. That's what I'm saying. Don't be salesy in your email marketing. But with this email marketing as a system, as a pillar, you can really, build that kind of trust. You can drive growth in the company. And because once it is set up, it runs like clockwork, right? It just runs. It's just a matter of taking that one single simple action initially, and then it runs. And that's when your business becomes not just busy, but scalable, right? Suddenly you start with a list of 100 people. That list grows by 200, 300, and then you cross 1,000. And that's how I grew my list over the years. Sometimes I tell people that I've got, close to 25,000 list in my, MailChimp campaign audience, which is wow. But that actually happens over time, right? And if you are ready to write your first email, let's do it. If you need any help from my side, come back to me. Just book a 30 minutes meeting. I'll actually show you how I run my email marketing campaign, and then also give you some ideas and tips on how you can digitize your existing business cards lying there in the office, right? So make sure they are all coming to your email marketing system, and run campaign and generate pipeline, generate leads, and then the sales part will happen at later stage, right? And that also I'll talk to you on the other video, on another video. So thank you for watching. I hope it's been fruitful. And if you have any doubt or questions, come back to me. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.